Alright, this is kind of interesting.
Hello,
What's going
guys
on
and
with Mr.
gals. Me,
Beast?
Moodahar. Today I found out, well, yesterday really, I found out that you could find the cure for cancer, end world hunger, find peace in the Middle East, so on and so forth, and still be canceled for it and still be called out for things on the internet, ladies and gentlemen. It's still
Why?
not enough to make people happy. Now, Mr. Beast made a video yesterday where he cured 1,000
Hmm.
people's blindness, so to speak. So, of course, curable blindness is a real thing. MrBeast obviously is a YouTuber that's built a brand around some of the most feel good content you could find. I'm not the biggest watcher in the world, I'll admit, but
Aw,
usually
come
when there
on,
are
Mr.
people
Beast is
being
the
helped
best.
or, there's charities being promoted in that, I'll usually end up watching it because generally, objectively, it's a good thing to see somebody use their money for the best reasons possible. Now, of course, MrBeast is a YouTuber that has built effectively a brand of having a bunch of for-profit channels, a bunch of avenues to make money, and dumping it into its main channel, where he does in fact lose money, and we'll get to that a bit later when it comes to doing these mega big giveaways. Obviously, the video yesterday cost a lot of money to do, and ultimately it did help 1,000 people finally see again. So I want to start this video off with a little bit of the criticism that I've been seeing sort of float around. I'm going to go on a scale of absolutely goddamn brain dead to where we get into like the intellectual debates. Okay, kind of like an iceberg. We're going to start from the very bottom where the feces are festering, all the way up to the top where there's some actual genuine good things being said. Okay, some good points being raised, if you will. Now,
Come
of course, I
on.
wanted to start off the
How are you
video
gonna
with,
hate
is
on that?
Mr. Beast the Antichrist? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're at this point. Now, of course, one of the posts that I saw immediately after this came up, there's something
That
so
confuses me.
demonic about this, and I can't even articulate what this is. Again,
For what it
implying that this
is,
guy might
not
in
what
fact be a
this
little
is.
anti-Christy. The Antichrist uses a lot of charm to get your attention. Again, I'm just going to say for the record, if the Antichrist is curing the blindness of people around you, maybe we had the guy pegged the wrong way. I'm just saying. Maybe it's a whole forehead, the head on the forehead thing. Maybe the symbology is going like crazy. But again, if the Antichrist is actually curing people's illnesses and blindness, maybe we might have had the guy pegged the wrong way the whole time. Just saying, all right, Jesus Christ.
That's
Here
funny.
I got a Facebook tier meme for you, ladies and gentlemen. We've got PewDiePie as Satan, the second beast Eric, and then you've got the Antichrist as Mr. Beast.
That's
The
funny. I just
Antichrist
found Eric
depicted
the
in
other day.
Revelations as 7 heads and 10 horns wearing crowns in the name of blasphemy. I've connected these
Absolutely.
7 heads to the following: Jimmy, founder of the channel; Chris, best friend of the channel. This is an actual real,
Subject
like,
of the
meme, all
beast.
right? This is actually somebody's real thoughtful analysis, okay? Again, if you thought maybe your life was going bad, you will never be as unhinged as what you're reading right here. Now, of course, is Jimmy the
That's
Antichrist?
wild.
Absolutely not. Of course, one of the other points that was raised in the entire thing was, is Jimmy really doing this for himself or to grow his brand? He's not doing good things for good reasons. If he could make money off kicking puppies off bridges, he would. I
No,
think one
he
of the best
wouldn't.
examples from an anime profile picture is, what are you doing to enact positive change besides being mad online? So, of course, one of the
Okay, not always do the anime avatar people have the best opinions. That was a good one. I was I would like to, you know, good job. Claps for that.
implications that MrBeast is doing this because he makes a crap ton of money off of it is one of the things that I wanted to really bring up. I was like, how is it mutually exclusive to want to make money, grow your brand, and also do the right thing at the right time? What I actually mean is, if you're going to try to do the right thing and trying to help as many people as you can, because at the end of the day, you're going to need money to help people, right?
Hmm.
So, of course, Jimmy grows his brand. Jimmy grows the amount of subscribers that he has, where he's become one of the highest sub channels on the platform.
You know, that just made me think because of that one comment. If he'd kick or if he'd make money kicking puppies in to the river, he would. How many how many puppies would you be willing to save to kick one puppy off a bridge? I think I said that wrong. How many puppies would it take to be saved for you to kick a puppy off the bridge? One puppy. You don't know any of the animals. Question for you down in the comments below.
as far as personal channels go. I think he is just, in fact, basically the highest sub channel at this point. Obviously, you're going to make a lot of money at that point. You're going to grow your brand quite a fair bit. And by growing your brand, you're able to expand your brand deals and your sponsors around and get a lot of people to pool money into these various projects. It's how you're able to do bigger and bigger things. If you're not able to create content, if you're not able to create, generate revenues off of it, that revenue cannot be used to help further and further people. MrBeast is one of those rare examples where I think given somebody who's making the amount of money that he does, most people would probably take that money and reinvest it into businesses or just general investments that would help them and a very small amount of people.
Absolutely.
For Jimmy, as far as I've been able to talk to him and as far as I've been able to understand this character, he's basically just somebody that's pretty happy with having like very little things in life and giving away as much money as he can. And I think that's a very altruistic goal to have, and very few people.
He's been saying that for a long time.
And very fewer people beyond that can actually follow those convictions through. So yeah, is the guy growing his brand by showcasing this for the world to see? Obviously. But in a lot of ways, that growth can then be reinvested into further projects that help more and more people. At the end of the day, the video that he made yesterday was objectively a good thing for the 1,000 people involved. Before then, 1,000 people were left blind, and after that video, 1,000 people could actually see and actually move on with their life.
That's crazy.
You're exploiting vulnerable people, and your audience is too young to
we
understand
watched that.
why
It's
that
so
is wrong.
it was it's so
kids,
wild.
They will be allowed to watch rated R movies before they're allowed to watch MrBeast. What a hot take these days. Exploiting of vulnerable people. Again, it's almost not even asking the people who are involved in the entire project, like, if it was okay on their behalf. I would be willing to say 100% of the people pretty much involved in that are happy with the net outcome that they have received, that they got cured for their blindness, which again, before that, they were heavily disabled and they probably couldn't do a lot of personal things and professional things in their life the way that they obviously wanted to. Obviously, now that you can see your family members, you can see your friends, you might be able to even return to work and not, and be able to stand on your own two legs at that point.
Yeah.
One of the wildest shits that I've ever seen is MrBeast since he's not using his money to do this.
I wonder if they're gonna get into the MrBeast ideology, where he was like, I don't understand why the government doesn't just pay for people to have their site back. The ROI on that must be ridiculous. The return on investment. Like, that's... I think people are so greedy. They're not looking for the return on the investment when you're a billionaire. Maybe, I don't know. I've never had that much money. I don't know. Crazy.
He does sponsored philanthropy and has his own charity. He's one of many rich people who uses and helps others use charity to not help pay taxes. He's not a good, selfless guy. He helps the government deny you health care via charity. Again, I might have to ask you, where's your direct...
That's such a brain dead comment. Because it's like, you obviously know nothing about MrBeast. You're going based off of one thing that is true. A lot of companies will use charity and use their philanthropy to get out of a lot of taxes. And that's crazy. But I do think overall giving back to the community is amazing in other ways as well. But when you're depriving people of millions and millions and millions plus of dollars every year in taxes, the 1%, maybe even a little more, that's... There's better ways to go about it. And all MrBeast has ever done is just give his money away. He's never tried to keep it. He's never tried to reinvest it. His whole business is giving money away.
Direct causal link between MrBeast and his charity actually lobbying for no health care for the average person for free. Again, Pretty big causal link right there. The other big reality is, yeah, it might not be entirely his money, but it's his brand that allows money to be funneled in from various interested parties. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people want to promote their products. And if they can promote their products on one of these massively viewed videos that ultimately helps people at the end of the day objectively, where is the actual real harm in that? What MrBeast is doing is effectively pulling in the money that most people would probably take and just use on themselves to actually give back pretty heavily to the people involved. I think at the end of the day, Jimmy and the people involved over at MrBeast's company are people that understand business pretty well. While an average amount of these main videos actually lose money, according to around like 1 to 2 million on average, obviously the other ventures they have build enough money that they can always pull back into these charity things. Obviously, these charity videos are a big drive to their channel, and obviously all of it feeds back into one another. People are being helped from the profits generated and the revenue generated and the following generated from these videos, right? So it's always something that feeds back into one another, which is generally a business model that I can actually see as reasonably sustainable for this kind of actual philanthropic ventures. But of course, one of the questions raised out of this was like, why is it that a YouTuber is necessarily involved when the government should be more involved in doing this? And that's an absolutely valid point to raise.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about where he brought it up.
There's a lot of ways that people can make this point without directly like causing like an entire hate bandwagon against the one guy doing something objectively good. Obviously, is MrBeast using his money to promote himself? Yeah, for sure. Is MrBeast using other money generated to promote himself? Obviously. Is that money used objectively well? Yeah. At the end of the day, the net positive of this video is 1,000 people got to see. And another big positive should be people should be asking why a YouTuber even had to get involved for this to take place. Obviously, when you talk about the idea of healthcare, universal healthcare, it's a pretty political topic. I'm not too intelligent on covering the idea, but as you can imagine, being a Canadian, I have a bit of a bias myself. A couple of years ago at this point, I remember watching Orgrease playlists on YouTube and it being so toxic that an actual appendage inside of my body blew up. My appendix blew up on me. Now, if you don't know, appendixes are like ticking time bombs in your body. Some people may have them blow up.
Wait, what did I just miss?
I had mine blow up. I didn't know about it for like 3 days. In fact, if I waited a day before I went to the hospital, I wouldn't be alive making this video. So obviously when I went to the hospital,
when that happened.
They did the tests.
That was crazy.
They found out, oh shit, you're doing a 1v90 million bacteria siege match in your body. So they took me into the hospital. They made me sign a waiver. Obviously, hey, if you die, it's not our fault because it was such a rapid surgery at that point. They took it out of me, cleaned me inside, and the total bill I got was a whopping $0. All right, of course, that's because I'm Canadian, and thankfully, I wasn't put into
definitely not the United States.
Doctor. Obviously, for somebody who would go into the surgery in places like the United States, unfortunately, they may have to pay somewhere up to like 6-figure sums for that exact surgery. Why? Because their body decided to be an asshole to them, and now they owe so much money to whatever private company that, operated on them. So obviously that's a big problem in the States. I believe there is some form of healthcare too, but again, it's very specialized towards older people, low-income people, and I think it matters basically state by state. And this is the question that's basically being raised. A lot of these people who are blind could have had it cured by the state. And as somebody like me, I pay a lot of taxes year after year. My appendix surgery wasn't free. I partially paid for it via my taxes. So in a lot of ways, if other people in Canada ended up having the same blown up appendix, I wouldn't feel so bad if some of my money went towards them, so they wouldn't have to worry about being in life debt for the rest of their actual life and paying it off, otherwise having really shitty credit scores and being unable to do anything.
I literally had a talk about insurance today. At work, our representative came in, and he's going through the thing. Every once in a while, I chirp in, hey, I got a question. Do they reimburse you for the 2 weeks that you're paying for every month that you weren't able to work? Because it's got to be longer than 2 weeks. And he's like, no. Okay, well then why do I pay so much money in insurance then if in 2 weeks, right, I'm not dead? But at that point, I might as well act like I feel like shit for another 2 weeks, so I can at least get paid for doing nothing, right? I mean, a lot of the time it's surgery and recovery, and it is an exhausting process. But like, why pay for insurance if you're or extended leave insurance for whatever reason? You have to go into surgery, you have to do this or that, and it's like, why pay for that if they're not gonna pay you back? You've got to be basically dead for them to pay you back, which is ridiculous. And they're not even, I don't even think they give you the whole amount of what you'd be making every paycheck. So that's such a stupid idea. I hate insurance, especially in the United States. Insurance is a scam.
Anything else. That's as far as politics I'm ever going to touch on my channel. So, take it in strides. But even MrBeast complimented on this. I don't understand why curable blindness isn't a thing. Why don't governments step in and help? Even if you're thinking purely from a financial standpoint, it's hard to see how they don't ROI on taxes. Absolutely true. If people who are blind, like I said earlier, can finally see their families and importantly go back to work, surely they could put back into the pool that they initially took out.
Absolutely.
That's what we're talking about at the end of the day. And honestly, for a lot of people calling this guy out on Twitter for doing this objectively good thing, should probably make it more apparent that this shouldn't have even had to happen in the first place had the governments and the people they voted for actually cared about the people, who they serve. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the MrBeast can never win scenario. Next time, we'll be looking at deep fakery. And of course, I'm going to research this topic pretty heavily because it absolutely has to be given the care and respect that it deserves. And that being said, I got my hands on a no-fly list, thankfully through journalistic friends, and I will be looking very deeply to see how many times I am on that list. If you like yourself, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am out.
Yeah, that does say a lot about just the way the world works. I don't think smart people run our country. I don't think that they're too much smarter than any Norman, They went to college. Well, they might be able to answer a math problem quicker. They might even be able to talk to you better, but that doesn't mean that they're smarter, more intelligent, It's wild. But thanks for coming and watching the video. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. And I got my microphone fixed. Thank you for letting me know in the comments below. All the audio should be good now. Much appreciated. All right, have a good one.